Hey guys, Darkovika here, and we're back with some more vlog questions. I still haven't been able to record something that's usable for Resident Evil 7, so vlog questions. Also, I was having some trouble with some face cam because if you follow me on Twitter, you know that I got an eye infection and it's not very pretty. I've gotten a lot better though. Obviously, you would not be seeing the face. You'd probably have a cheeseburger. Okay, cool. So we last left off, as per usual, we're doing these vlogs on top of Stardew Valley while I'm trying desperately to get to anything that involves Yandere Jas. Otherwise, we would have 5 billion episodes of me being a farmer, which as much as I would love to do that, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like good content and I can't bring myself to do that. So, anyways, number 13 on my 50 questions you've never been asked website, which you can find the link in the description below. Number 13, what's the worst grade you got on a test? I mean, an F. I think if no one's received an F in their life, then they don't really know what it means to succeed. I have had instances in my life where I've failed, and I'm not afraid of failure, but I do definitely respond very poorly to failure. In college, I graduated with honors. I think it was like a 3.8 or something, and in high school I graduated like C average. So somewhere down the line, I think I went from high school to community college, and in community college I don't know what I was doing 90% of the time. I hung out with friends and I completely did not care about my studies, and then I transferred to actual college and was like, all right, it's time to be serious, and I graduated with honors, so there you go. But I mean, it didn't stop me from getting an F there either, so I've definitely gotten Fs in my life. I don't know. If you haven't gotten an F, you're weird and crazy and very, very lucky. They're not fun. For those who don't have the United States grading system, an F is the lowest score that you can get, and if you get an F, coming back from an F is like impossible. You have to do like every extra credit assignment and every single, and I'm not talking about your overall grade, I mean one F. Like, you could have an A in a class and you get an F on a test or a project or something, bam, you've got a C. That's it. Maybe a B minus if you're lucky and the teacher really likes you. Fs here will destroy your grade. It is like the greatest, biggest stress cycle that you will ever have, because one F and it's like, well, there goes everything. I'm just gonna stop trying now. What's the point? The amount of effort that it took to keep my A versus the amount of effort it's going to take to get my A back is just impossibly different. The scales are like this. It's like, here's what it takes to keep your A if you're lucky and you have a class that you're all right in. Here's what it takes to, like, get your A back after an F. It's through the roof. Number 14, what was your favorite TV show when you were a child? Off the top of my head, my favorites change all the time. I'm just gonna put that out there, so I can't really give you like an answer. Like, if you ask me again in a month, I'll probably say a different show. But off the top of my head, my favorite TV show to watch was Courage the Cowardly Dog, which I know is really weird. That show scared a lot of my friends. Like, there are a lot of people I know that did not like Courage the Cowardly Dog because it was so weird and it gave them nightmares. I loved Courage the Cowardly Dog. I thought it was like the coolest show. I loved Courage. I loved the creepy stuff. I think that was when I started like really getting a love for horror, which as a book genre, a movie genre, and a game genre, it's my favorite thing in the world. Can't handle it. I am terrible with horror. You stick me in a haunted house and I am the loudest screamer. I am a pansy. I am the biggest chicken that you will ever put in a horror anything. It could be like the weeniest horror house and I will still get scared. It's so bad. It's so embarrassing. Number 15. What did you dress up as on Halloween when you were 8? I don't know. I don't know what I dressed up as when I was 8. I'd have to go look that up. That's just, what a weirdly specific question. Okay, well, I'll just go through some Halloween costumes I had when I was a kid. I know I dressed up as a lot of princesses. I loved princesses when I was a little girl. I dressed up as, I think I had a Meg costume from Hercules, and I had Cinderella. I think I had, no, I didn't have the Sleeping Beauty. I I think I had a Little Mermaid costume, but I can't remember. I think I dressed up as Dorothy another year. Every time I wore braids or a ponytail, this one boy would pull my hair and I would cry, and it was the worst. I was a big crybaby when I was a little girl. Like, it was bad. I cried every day for the stupidest reasons. Number 16, have you read any of the Harry Potter, Hunger Games, or Twilight series? Woo, that is a question. All right, I have read all of Harry Potter, like 3 times. I've read the first one at least 7 times. Actually, yes, that's true, because I would reread the books every time another book came out. So I have actually read the first book at least 7 times. That wasn't even an exaggeration. I've probably read the 7th book once. Obviously, nothing really came out after that, except for Curse of Child. I have not read The Cursed Child. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, I haven't read that one. I am not a fan of plays. I do not like plays. And I dislike books written in screenplay format. I picked it up and I was intrigued by the story, but I couldn't get into it because I just don't like plays. And I'm sorry, I know they're amazing and everybody says they're like for really cultured people, but I don't like them. As for Twilight, I have read all of Twilight. I'm sorry, I liked Twilight. I was one of those people. I still like Twilight deep in here. As an aside, the last time I actually, the last time I tried to read Twilight was when she released that whole, like, everyone's gender swapped. I'm not talking to you, Amazon Echo. Anyways. The last time I read Twilight was when she released that whole gender swap book. But the last time I read Twilight before that, I was sitting outside and I was on a bench and it was nice and cloudy and it was beautiful weather. There was mist everywhere. It was like a really foggy, misty, cloudy day, which you don't get in California. So I sat outside in a jacket and I sat on a bench and I was reading Twilight. I started page 1. I was like, we're going to enjoy ourselves some Twilight. About, maybe 3rd chapter, so I noticed there's like a little spider on my arm. I'm like, ew, flick it off. Blah, 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 keep reading, and I noticed, whoa, why is there a spider on this arm now? I flick it. Gosh, stupid spider. Keep reading, blah, blah, blah. Notice there's a little green bug, not a spider, on my arm, and I'm like, dang it, and I go to flick it, and on the peripheral of my arm, I notice that there's another bug, like right over here, and I'm like, what? And I turn my arm, right? I'm like, I go from this view to this view, and there are like 3 spiders and a couple green bugs, and I'm like, I lift my other arm and I look at it like this, and again, there's like 4, maybe 5 spiders and a couple green bugs, and I'm just like, and I turn around and I look at the back of the bench, and lo and behold, there is like a conga line of spiders and just bugs, just every bug under the sun, mostly spiders, and they are literally lined up on the back of the bench to get on me. And this is because it's cold and I am warm. So for a second I was like, oh, this is kind of cute. And then I remembered, I have long hair. And my hair is like this, right? That means that these suckers had to climb on top of my hair to get on my arm. Like, it's a bad time. It's a bad time. I sat there and I was like, oh, that's kind of... Nope. No bugs in the hair. Nope, not okay. And I slowly put Twilight down, and I stood up, and I very carefully walked over to the front door, and I like peeled the jacket off as gently as I could to keep from, emotionally upsetting anything that was on the back of my jacket. I couldn't see the back, by the way. I didn't see it. Turned the jacket around, you could not see the design. I was covered. The jacket was literally just a wall of spiders and other bugs, and I was just like, this is gonna haunt me forever. And I just like laid it on the floor, and I was like, you can have it. You can have it. And I went inside. My mom was like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm going to take a 3-hour shower and possibly shave off all of my hair. I didn't, but it was a very long shower. So there you go. That's my most recent Twilight series, except for the gender swap book. As for Hunger Games, I have read the first one, and I was not a fan of Katniss in the book. I didn't really like her. She was very boring. It felt more like she was giving a newscast on events happening around her. Like she wasn't really taking part in anything, except for the moment where she was like, I volunteer as tribute, which was probably the coolest moment in the whole book. Anyways, would you rather have an American accent or a British accent? I kind of talk weird as an American anyways. I pronounce every syllable, and I speak very archaically sometimes. I have a lot of friends who make fun of me about that. I like British accents. They're very fun, but I also like being able to do like a myriad of accents, even though they're all horrible. I make no pretenses. My accents are terrible. I think I like having an American accent, even though a lot of people tend to think of Americans as brash and rude and very unfun. I like being an American, you know? I like my accent, even though it's not very normal. Sometimes I have, like, there have been some times where I will be talking and all of a sudden I'll be like, you know what? I would, like, totally do that. And I'm like, oh, I've done the thing. I've done the accent. Oh, because I do technically live in the valley. So there you go. It's a thing. 18. Did your mother go to college? I think she did later. I think she did go back to college. I do not believe you know what? I'm not really 100% sure on that question. I don't want to say something and then she's like, why'd you say that? That's not true. Now they all think this. And I'm going to go, oh, I'm sorry. I thought I knew. There's a fly. So I'm not 100% sure on that one. I think she did. She went back later. 19. Are your grandparents still married? Well, they were married when my grandfather died in 3rd grade and my grandmother died last year. Actually, it was this year. It was in November, I think. It was either October or November. It was a bad time. Okay, I'm trying not to remember that. Number 20. Have you ever taken karate lessons? No, actually. I did take ballet when I was a little girl. I remember very little of ballet, mostly because during one of my first performances, we had a show in which I was dressed up as a little ducky, and I fell off the stage. And this was a 10-foot stage, and I don't remember anything else. I don't remember ever going back to ballet for sure. Anyways, what's the next one? We'll do a couple more, because we started on 13. Number 21. Do you know who Kermit the Frog is? Duh. He's the puppet. The Jim... You know, I'm gonna get that name wrong. I've been second guessing myself lately. I want to say Jim Henson, and I feel like that's wrong. But I do know who Kermit the Frog is. I'm like 25. Of course I know who Kermit the Frog is. Number 22. What's the first amusement park you've been to? I want to say Disneyland. My parents have been taking me to Disneyland since before I was like, before my brain was a brain. That's not true. I had a brain. It was just mush. But I have been going to Disneyland since I was like born. Before that, I'm not 100% sure, but definitely after I was born, I've been to Disneyland my entire life. So pretty sure that's the first one. Number 23, what language besides your native language would you like to be fluent in? Frankly, Japanese, and only because PlayStation Portable games are not region locked, and they have some of my favorite otomes that I've ever seen and have been unable to play because they are only in Japanese. And that is basically the only reason. Other than that, Spanish because it's probably the most useful language you can learn in Southern California. German because it's cool. I would like to learn Latin because I'm pretty good at dead languages already. And I don't know. There's nothing that I've ever really crazily wanted to learn. I learned how to write in Anglo-Saxon. Runic. Such a dork. We'll do one more. 24. Do you spell the color as gray or gray? So G-R-E-Y or G-R-A-Y. I think I've done both. I think I stick to G-R-A-Y because I read somewhere that that's the popular spelling in the United States, and I figured better just go with what people recognize, but they are both correct. I don't think either one gets underlined as red if you write it in Word. I may be wrong. I think maybe Word corrects it to G-R-A-Y, so maybe that's why. There you go. All right, there is 11 questions that I have answered today from this 50 questions website. I didn't mention this last time, but definitely post your responses in the comment section below. I love to hear your guys' responses when I do these Q&A things. 50 questions is obviously very, very long, But hey, we're playing Stardew Valley, and that's going to take forever. So I hope you guys enjoyed this series. I will see you all next time, and don't forget to post in the comment section below what your answers are. You can find them in the link, which is in the description, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.